Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. We're here today with Belegar, Ironhammer, and the Dwarves. We're going to be taking on the Greenskins. This is game 2 between myself and Herbert Walker, who is not my son. That's just his username. Somebody always comments about that. But anyway, let's go ahead and have a look. I've got 4 gyros here, 2 brimstones, 2 steam guns over on the far side, Belegar Ironhammer. Up front we've got Dwarf Warriors, Miners with blasting charges, Peak Gate Guard protecting the back with Corridors and Iron Drakes. For my opponent, Azag the Slaughterer, up in the air, we've got a whole bunch of Skulkers and Goblins all spread out over the field, a couple of units of Trolls here, Durkit Squigs, Azag's got just Spirit Leech up in the air, a couple Boar Chariots, and a couple Goblin Wolf Chariots, so we'll see. We will see. Looks like the steam gun's already opening up. Unfortunately, I had meant to put the, actually have this reversed and have the brimstone guns on this side and the steam guns over here. The steam guns would tear through those light chariots. As it is, the brimstone guns are doing some good work already. Working down one of those units have just about routed them off, but the Orc Boar Chariots are going to come in here for a quick charge. The Skulkers also get into a unit of Dwarf Warriors, which is very cost effective for them. I'm going to start to lose out some infantry units right off the bat here, but this is going to allow some of my Corridors to get some good fire in here. We're also moving up the 2 Iron Drakes as well to get into roasting position. So we'll see. I'm going to try and push forward if I can, but obviously mobility advantage does lie with the Greenskins, so we're going to kind of have to let him dictate the pace of the engagement a little bit here. But yeah, the gyros getting pretty aggressive going after the Boar Chariots. We brought the brimstone guns over as well, and it looks like the Iron Drakes are now opening up. They're going to roast out these Skulkers very efficiently. Exactly what I brought them for. So yeah, you can see those Skulkers just getting absolutely wrecked. Unfortunately, the Chariots didn't get as wrecked, and they are going to come through, try and get on top of those Iron Drakes. We're going to bring Belegar back. I had meant to keep him a little bit further back here. He could have provided some charge defense. A sneaky ambush here from these Goblin Wolf Riders who are Vanguard deployed in the corner. I'm going to bring my Peak Gate Guard forward at exactly the wrong moment. Meanwhile, though, I'm focusing these 2 chariots pretty efficiently with all these different units. The 1 chariot gets routed off. Likewise for the Wolf Chariots. They're not doing too hot either, but unfortunately for me, the Goblins are able to get through and get on top of these Iron Drakes. The blasting charges did a ton of damage to the Skulkers initially, but unfortunately it wasn't quite enough to rout them off. Over here, Belegar's finally got into a protection position on the Iron Drakes. They're able to rally their leadership together. The Boar Chariots will actually take some damage in melee from the Miners with their armor-piercing damage, just because of the low melee defense there. And likewise, the steam guns also firing in as well. But yeah, Belegar is standing danger close, ready to take on Azag as he charges in, and a point-blank flame right in the face for Azag is going to do a bit of damage. He's only got 70 armor, so it should do okay, but unfortunately for me, the Corridors are all shut down at the moment as the Wolf Riders are getting in here. They're not going to win, but they will at least keep the Corridors tied up for a little bit of time, as well as the Peak Gate Guard is who could have been in here, armor sundering on Azag with the Corridors firing in, potentially, but it's going to be a little bit rough for me. Regrouped Skulkers coming in. We've got the final wave of Greenskins, 2 units of Trolls, and more Skulkers coming in. So at this point, I was feeling okay. We're going to drop some bombs, and I was able to rout off a lot of the Greenskin units, but I'm just running into a numbers issue where I can't keep everything at bay at the same time. Over here, we have managed to finish off the Chariots, but they've done a ton of damage already, and there are still several healthy units of Skulkers. We're going to start firing in with some Corridors here and try and get some damage done, but Azag is also a big danger. One more good roast, though, on those Skulkers, going to make them rethink their decision to charge in here. They're going to rout, and then we're immediately going to switch targets onto the Trolls, who are, of course, weak to fire as well. And they're going to get some gouts of flame here. Belegar and the Miners trying to stop them up. The blasting charges also do fire damage, so everything here trying to stop these Trolls. But unfortunately, the Durkit Squigs, units over on this flank, the infantry is just completely gone. They're running amok. Azag's up in the air, probably going to be going after those gyrocopters. So fortunately, the balance power has tipped against me pretty severely at this point. We do manage to rout off those Trolls, but it's not going to be enough at the end of the day. And yeah, I honestly think that the decisive moment there was those Wolf Riders being able to tie down the Rangers and so on in the back line. I also didn't have any Slayers in this build, which I think was definitely a mistake. At this point, we're just going to try and finish like champions here. The Iron Drakes continuing to pour in some fire, but Azag going to come down. The rock lobbers continuing to throw in. I haven't been able to get back there at all. I maybe could have used the steam guns to go after the crew, since my opponent didn't have any counterfire, but I was a little bit busy dealing with other units. Unfortunately, the chariots did come back. Peak Gate Guard now getting swarmed by trolls and other units just about to rout off there. Belagar making his final stand in the center. Burning gyrocopters all around him. What went wrong, Belagar? Well, you didn't bring any slayers, for one thing. And would definitely would have been useful to have some slayers here, no doubt. You know, beyond that, I think that the build actually worked out okay. I think the Peak Gate Guard, you know, if I were to have swapped them out, and I'll go through a couple of other things in the end screen as well, but I think I could have afforded to bring maybe 2 units of slayers to protect that that line there, and if we could have protected better from that sneaky ambush, or even just use them better against the chariots to rout them off a little bit quicker, keep them from doing quite so much damage, we maybe could have pulled this one back. But credit to my son here, he played very, very well. So yeah, nasty anti-dwarf build, and at the end of the day, you know, just so many units to deal with. The fact that I had a lot of range to protect means that I didn't have a whole lot of infantry meat to kind of hold them back. It would have been a little bit better to probably go with some more numbers. I mean, the gyrocopters worked out okay, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should have swapped out the brimstone guns for more steam guns. It's hard to say. Just steam gunning the infantry would have been a little bit more effective, I think, and then just using my other units to go after Azag. The Peak Gate Guard, again, they were all right, but I think if I were to... Belagar as well, you know, he's a fun pick, but I think in a more ideal situation if you were to cut those 2 down, because Belagar is a little bit more expensive than a regular Dwarf Lord, so if you were to cut that down to just a regular Dwarf Lord with nothing, he's extremely cheap. I want to say the Rune Lord with only Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin is almost as cheap, so I might actually do that instead. The Lord, though, he's pretty tempting. He's got charge defense against all, he's pretty tanky, so I might do that. And then rather than bring the Peak Gate Guard, you know, we're going to save some points there as well, and that should afford us enough to bring 2 units of Slayers, I want to say. And then let's see, what did we have? 4 Miners with Blasting Charges, 4 Dwarf Warriors. You know, hindsight being 2020, I'm going to stick with the same gyrocopter setup, and we're also going to get, you know, the same range setup more or less. I mean, at this point I have 2,000, so we could potentially... rather than grabbing the Runesmith, we could just go super heavy on missiles and grab like 5 units of Rangers. I guess we only have room for 3. I can do math, guys, I promise. In that case, you know, you could even take like a 3rd Slayer. Oh, that's where I'm missing. These guys were brimstone guns. There we go. Yeah, so in that case, then I had upgraded the Rangers to Quarrelers just because reasons, but yeah, I mean, something like that I think might be pretty solid, honestly, to take on the Greenskins. You could obviously swap these Quarrelers out for Rangers, and then potentially bring a Runesmith. I want to say Runesmith with Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin is relatively cheap. Yeah, you could definitely afford to bring just that. So yeah, or sorry, not Rune of Negation, Rune of Wrath and Ruin. So something like this I think might be pretty solid, and we do still have enough to upgrade both of these to Quarrelers. If you really, you know, are feeling like you still don't have enough infantry, you could potentially cut some of these gyros down, maybe just go with the 3 steam guns up in the air, and that does give you enough to bring like 1 more unit of Slayers. This might be a little bit better, honestly, just because you have a little bit more anti-large on the ground, a little bit more stopping power in that way. But yeah, certainly a great battle. Unfortunately, not as close as the first battle, and the Greenskins being victorious twice, so definitely good showing for the Green Boys in this series. I'll be bringing you Game 3 of the series relatively soon. I don't know. I know I sent the replays off to Halo. I don't know exactly what his plans were for them, if he was going to try and get Heir of Carthage or some other people to cast them, but I figured it'd probably be okay for me to cast my own games, and certainly, you know, we all can learn a bit from them and enjoy them together, hopefully. Yeah, as far as the Greenskins go, I think that my opponent's build was honestly pretty effective. The Orc Boar Chariots I'm not the biggest fan of. I don't think that they're wildly cost effective. You guys know, for me, I like to take an all Vanguard Goblin list and just troll super hard with tons of Skulkers and Squigs and so on, and just have a lot of fun that way. Definitely not necessarily ideal, but I think the Azak build was honestly pretty decent. Yeah, interesting one. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below, though. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.